Happy Friday, Mafia. Welcome into the Bills Breakdown here by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, hanging out with you on this episode. And if you thought you were going to go into the weekend with all of the best news surrounding the Buffalo Bills, you are sadly mistaken, because a new report has come out that Matt Milano has been named the #1 trade asset for the Buffalo Bills. Now, before we break down anything, if you have been a Bills fan for your entire life, you have got to smash that thumbs up for me. Sadly, I cannot say that I have to throw my thumbs up on this one. I've been a Bills fan for quite some time, but my entire life, that's a lot of years. That's 29 years that I definitely didn't have. But here's what PFF came out and said about the whole Matt Milano trade. The Bills have been busy locking down several key contributors who were set to hit the market, including Greg Rousseau and Khalil Shakir. James Cook and Christian Benford are still in limbo, but both will seemingly be extended. Milano, on the other hand, could be more uncertain. Now, let's break down a little bit more about Matt Milano. He was drafted by the Bills in the 5th round of the 2017 NFL Draft, and for what you got for a 5th rounder, this is phenomenal. First team All-Pro in 2022, and he's a team-friendly guy, took a pay cut to play in the 2025 season with the Bills. So not only is he a team player for Buffalo, but back in 2022, you were seeing some unbelievable production from a guy that you found in the 5th round. He knocked it out of the park. It was a home run swing that connected for the Bills back when he was drafted in 2017. Now, he does turn 31 years old before the start of the 2025 season, so time is not necessarily on his side. And when I say time, I'm also talking about father time, because let's be real, the last couple of years, not been kind to him. He's very rarely on the field. In 2023, only played in 5 games, and then last year with the torn bicep, only appeared in the last 4 games. So the truth is, Milano, the last 2 years, has kind of been a liability for the Bills. And I hate saying that only because I know that when he's healthy, we can see amazing production from him. He has been a key focal point to this Bills defense since he's been drafted. But again, look at what we're dealing with. The last couple of seasons, he's not on the field. Now, like I said, when he's on the field, 2022, 2021, he's great. He's an amazing run stopper. But again, this is part of the reason why I think the Bills have some reason to move on from Matt Milano. Now, that could cause a little bit of panic for some Bills fans, but here's what a potential trade idea could look like. In the event the Bills decided, hey, thank you for what you brought to the organization. Unfortunately, we're going to move on. The Bills send a 4th-round pick to the Tennessee Titans, we receive a 4th-round pick to the Tennessee Titans, and they get Matt Milano. And the Titans desperately need linebacker help. They were one of the worst-graded linebacker rooms in the entire NFL last season. So I'm going to ask you this. Should the Bills trade Matt Milano? Type T for trade, type K for keep. As of right now, I'm a little bit on the fence. I'll give you my answer later on in the video. But in the event the Bills do decide to move on from him, you still have to replace him. So what does a replacement look like for Matt Milano? So if you trade him, or if you decide to cut him, which most likely won't happen, it's most likely going to be a trade, this is what it would look like. If you trade him post-June 1st, the Bills could save $5.9 million, which adds towards their cap savings going into next year. Now, trade for trade, like straight-up player trades, are not nearly as common in the NFL. You don't really see them anymore. So what you do see is something like, drafting or trading for picks. And the first plan, if we decide to move, or the first part of this plan, I should say, if we decide to move on from Milano, is to draft a linebacker. Now, this defensive draft class in 2025 is loaded. I'm not going to lie to you. It's one of the best defensive draft classes I've ever seen. And here are some of those prospects that could potentially fill his spot. Kobe King from Penn State last year, who had an unbelievable stretch down the college football playoff. Jack Kiser, same thing for Notre Dame, made an appearance in the national championship game. I'm high on him. Demetrius, who I've previously mentioned in a video as a potential Bills draft target. And Jeffery, Bassa from Oregon, who also could be a 4th-round pick. Now, it also should be noted, I'd be drafting these guys in the 4th or the 5th round. I don't think you could, unless you're going after a guy like Jihad Campbell, who won't be there at 30 by the time the Bills pick, you're not really going to draft a linebacker first or second round. And plus the Bills' needs, cornerback, defensive line, defensive end. Those are what the Bills need right now in terms of their top draft priorities. You don't necessarily need to go out and draft a linebacker rounds 1, 2, or 3. You could find a really good one in rounds 4 or 5. Now, the second part of the plan is to sign a cheaper free agent. Now, I'm not as high on this one because, let's be clear, a lot of the guys that are still out there for free agency linebackers, they're getting up there in age. Here's the list of some of the top 5. CJ Mosley, he's getting old, 32 years old. Isaiah Simmons, who's a little bit younger, but noticeably has kind of declined in terms of productivity. Kiser White, EJ Speed, and then Eric Kendricks. Again, I'm not as on board with this necessarily. I think going in the draft and getting a linebacker, considering we have 10 draft picks in 2025, with half of those being in the 5th and 6th round, you could double down on linebacker. Draft 2 in a row if you wanted. Now, again, that's not up to me. That's up to Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott and deciding what they want to do. But if you decide, again, to move on from Milano, which I don't think is the correct thing to do, what I would end up doing is reevaluating after the 2025 season. It's so hard to me to say goodbye to a guy simply because he's not been on the field. Now, it happens every single year, right? The best ability is availability. That's the old saying. So I look at this and I say, because of what you've given me, I'm willing to ride it out with you for one more year. But if you're not nearly as productive on the field in 2025, or God forbid, you get injured again and you miss even more time, I think it's most likely time to part ways with Matt Milano. So again, don't panic. I'm not saying we have to get rid of him this year, but the writing is starting to get on the wall a little bit, and I think Brandon Beane has to make a decision before the start of the 2026 season. All right, let's wrap up our little episode today with a little random impression for you. I like to spice things up in my episodes and my videos. I'm going to give you a random impression that I don't want to say I've been working on it. It's just something that I kind of do when I'm around the house. It's Herbert the Pervert from Family Guy. Hey, Chris. I got a whole freezer just full of popsicles. All right, that one, I felt like going into that, I probably could have been a little bit worse. That was a solid B- in my opinion. But let me know what you think of it. Give me an A, give me a B, C, D, or F if you think I should just keep my day job. That's going to do it for us here on the Bills Breakdown. Remember to subscribe, like that video. We have been doing some amazing numbers here on the channel, and I could not be more happy about it. Share this with a Bills fan. We are trying to make it the premier destination for all Bills content. Until next time, my name is Moose. See you then.